Good morning, kids. Now we are going to deal with our literature readers unit number 3, glimpses of the past. Okay, and this has been taken from or extracted from Our Freedom Movement, this book. Okay, Our Freedom Movement, which was written by S.D. Sawant. So this is a small part which we are going to deal with. Okay, so glimpses of the past. Glimpses means a short look. Okay, to take a short look or to just peep in, to know, to observe very quickly. Okay, so let us move into our past and have a look what was there, what happened in our past, how our country became free, what all struggle the people they had taken. Okay, all about that. So before you read section, here are some pictorial glimpses of the history of our country from 1757 to 1857. These pictures and speech bubbles will help clarify your understanding of the conditions that led to the event known as the First War of Independence in 1857. So these are the pictures which we are going to deal with, and the speech bubbles. Speech bubbles means in a comic you might have seen when a character speaks, a speech bubble is there, and what he speaks is printed over there. So these speech bubbles are there, and a lot of pictures are there in this chapter. So both these things will make us clear what had happened and what things led to the First War of Independence in India in 1857. So before 1857, what all things had happened, what was the history of the Indians. Okay, after as soon as the Britishers, the the colonists, they started ruling over India. So let us move further. So this first picture is of the martyrs. Martyrs means the people who have sacrificed their life for the freedom of our country. So this is the picture of 1947 when we got our freedom, and this is our first celebration of Independence Day. Here you can see on the stage there are great personalities of that time. Our first Prime Minister Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru is there. Our first President Dr. Rajendra Prasad is there, and Indira Gandhi ji is there, and the person who is singing on the mic is great Lata Mangeshkar, the Nightingale of India, and she is singing a song, and it is at Delhi, Red Fort. We are celebrating over here our first independence. So what is she singing? Oh my great countrymen, let your eyes fill with tears as you recall the sacrifices and of India's martyrs. So she is appealing to the to all Indians to recall the martyrs who had lost their lives, who had sacrificed their lives. So this is a famous Hindi song we people know, and every time on 15th of August and on 26th of Jan we play this song today also. Okay, so what is this song? ऐ मेरे वतन के लोगों ज़रा आँख में भर लो पानी, जो शहीद हुए हैं उनकी ज़रा याद करो कुर्बानी. So this is the English translation of this song over here they have made. On the second picture you can see Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, our first Prime Minister, is sitting over there, but behind him there are so many people who had led the freedom struggle and made our country free. Who these people are? Rani Lakshmi Bai is there, Lokmanya Tilak is there, Lala Lajpat Rai, Bhagat Singh, Mahatma Gandhi ji, Subhash Chandra ji Bose. All these people were there and they led the freedom struggle. They sacrificed their life, and we are enjoying our free life today. So this is the first glimpse of 1947. Let us go behind in 1757 till 1849. So the company's conquest. Conquest means the act of conquering, to win. So how, and not actually win, to conquer, to invade. Okay, so the company's conquest. Your company means the British rule, colonial rule. Okay, so see, observe the map properly. With its superior weapons, the British East India Company was extending the power in 18th century India. So this is India's map where it is of 1765. You can see the yellow part is Indian Princess and the pink part is British territories. So in 1757, when, or 65, when Britishers or the East India Company, they entered India and they started ruling. It is the initial part of their rule when they were starting ruling over us. At that time, the princely states were much more than the British occupied territories. Okay, so the East India Company entered with its superior weapons. So here, superior weapons means what? What were the superior weapons? Did they threaten us by the guns and cannons and all swords and knives? No, their superior weapon was divide and rule. They had this, they used this, they implemented this successfully because we Indians were very fool to listen to them. Okay, they divided us and they ruled us. So Indian princes were short-sighted. They were short-sighted. Indian princes means the kings, rulers of the princes. They were very short-sighted. They didn't know what was the intention of the colonial rule, why they were willing to help these Indian princes. What is this king saying over here? That upstart Raja Ba call the English merchants. They will help me to defeat him. Raja Ba means, here this king is talking about another king, and he has a threat because of the another king would defeat him. So what to do? So he is seeking help of the colonial or the British merchants, and the British merchant would fight from his part, this king's part, against that ruler, the Rajaba, and the British merchant would defeat him. So this is the way what Britishers they did. They took the advantage of the disputes between the different princely states, and they assured either one, both of them, to give the protection against the other kings. In this way, they started ruling. Actually, they started ruling over us. So the rivalries helped the East India Company, and it could easily subdue Indian princes one by one. So the rivalries between the disputes between the Indian princes, and this was the reason how Britishers they got hold of all the Indian premises, the princely states. Okay, and one by one they started taking control of that. So a far-seeing ruler like the brave Tipu of Mysore fought the British till he died fighting. So the far-sighted means Tipu Sultan was a person who could see in his future, if this is going to continue, Britishers are going to continue in this way, they would be ruling over India, all over India, and he could see that and he realized that. So he started fighting with British rulers, and finally he died fighting. Thank God there's a peace in the country now. No more wars and no more lootings by thugs. So how did Indians they react to these conquests? So Britishers they started conquering one by one princely states. So what were the Indians' reactions? Different reactions were there. So one Indian is saying over here, thank God there is peace in the country now. No more wars and no more looting by thugs. So they got protected from the merchants, British merchants, and no more looting was there. So it is God who sent the British over this. Another Indian is saying that thank God, God has sent the Britishers for us to protect us. Our destiny is linked with them. So this is how the thing was going on. And on the other hand, other people they were saying the white man has killed or dethroned our kings. Some kings were not good, but after all, they were of this land. Now we have become slaves of foreigners. On the other hand, people started realizing that the Britishers, they had started dethroning. They started throwing the kings out of their provinces, and they started taking the control of that part. So these people they started realizing now they had become at that time the slaves of the foreigners because of their foolishness. Further, British rule from 1765 to 1836. Meanwhile, on one side, Britishers they were conquering one by one the princely states. On the other hand, religious leaders they were spreading the poisonous thoughts among the people. What kind? So religious leaders preached ideas like untouchability and child marriages. good for nothing ideas, thoughts were spread by these religious leaders. What they said, what kind of ideas? Untouchability. No should touch the lower caste people. If anyone touches, that person would lose his religion. Or you have to follow child marriage. Children have to get married in certain age, not when they become mature, but in their childhood they should get married. If anyone opposes this, then that person loses his religion. And everyone loved their own religion, so they were threatened by this thing. So anyone who crosses the seas loses his religion. Further, what this man is saying, see, all the misery in the world is due to women. So this person is saying that because of women, the misery, the sadness is there in the world. So these negative feelings regarding women, lower caste people, child marriages, all these things started prevailing in the country side by side. So what the Britishers is saying, and can you see an Indian is there standing over there, bending down, hands joined in front of the Britishers. The truth was that Indians had lost self-respect. They had lost their self-respect. The British scorned them. The British had scorned them, and they identified their weaknesses, and Britishers, they started ruling over them, and because of this, Indians, they had lost their self-respect. So what is this Britishers saying over here? The natives are unworthy of trust, okay? Incapable of honesty. So according to this Britishers, native means Indians, they are not worthy of trust. They cannot be trusted. They are not honest at all. But this Indian is bending down in his hand and he's saying, true sir, true your honor, but I am honest, so please take me in your party. I am honest. So in this way, they didn't have self-respect at that time. Instead of fighting against the Britishers, Indians started laying themselves in front of the Britishers. Being merchants, the British wanted quick profits. Their heavy taxes forced farmers to abandon their fields. So what the other thing applied by the Britishers was farmers, they have to pay taxes in the sense lagan means what, farmers, they have to pay certain amount of or a certain part of their product in the agriculture to the Britishers as a part of taxes. If the farmer misses or fails to pay that, his tax would get doubled next time, and this way the farmers were looted by the Britishers. What this farmer is saying to the British over there, but your men are taking all my crops. So instead of taking a part of the crops, the Britishers, they started taking all the crops. Okay, so he's complaining why your men had taken all my crops. So what explanation Britisher is giving over here? You are still to arrears. Okay, if you don't pay next week, I will send you to jail. So you are still in arrears. Arrear means balance. So he had to pay more to the Britishers, and he had not paid that much what was needed for him to pay. If he did not pay by next week, he would be put behind the bars in the jail. So this was the treatment given to the Indian farmers by the Britishers. Now let us see further what happens. Still, the British invented other methods which gave them more profits. So this was not less. So Britishers, they invented more ways to loot Indians and to make profits on their part. What was that? The good manufactured in England should not have any import duty when brought into India. A good idea. The East India Company's laws began to cripple Indian industries. So farmers were looted. Okay, were looted at that time. Second plan of the Britishers was to cripple the Indian industry, was to attack on Indian industry. How Indian industries would be attacked? When British goods was supposed to be imported in India without being imposing any import duty on it. Import duty means if you are importing any good to India, you have to pay certain taxes. to that government. But Britishers were so smart that they didn't impose any tax to that government, to the Indian government. And when they brought their goods, their produced goods from their country to India, those goods were sold in much higher prices, and in this way, I don't think so in higher prices, but in low prices. And in this way, Indian industries, they produce very fine products, okay, but that fine product needed a costlier thing. So the produced things were, Indian goods were costlier than the Britishers. But what people preferred to buy the cheap goods which were brought into India. So in this way, East India Company, it began to cripple the Indian industries. On the other hand, the artists who made handmade things, okay, those artisans were also ruined. How? Inevitably, famines followed between 1822 and 1836. 15 lakh Indians died of starvation. So famines also followed, cherry on the icing. Okay, so between 1822 to 1836, and 15 lakh Indians, they died. The British policies ruined the export artisans and their business. So farmers were looted, industries were crippled, and Indian artisans, they were also ruined. Okay, they also have to die without money. And all this thing happened because of the British rule, harsh British rules, and their laws which they had implemented for their profit and for the loss of the Indians. So till here we will study in this video. We'll deal with other two parts one by one in our next part, in our next videos. Till then, please go through the lesson in the chapter, in the textbook, and please go through this video once again and leave your comment in the comment box. Thank you.